Kemi Badenoch has been caught up in the eye of the storm again with Nigerians, particularly those in the diaspora. For some inexplicable reasons, Nigerians in the United Kingdom think they elected Kemi into into the public office she presently occupies. Therefore, she should be enacting policies with with her party, that is the Conservative Party, that will benefit them alone. When you point out the fact that Kemi may have Nigerian roots, but she's primarily British, put into office by the British people, they tell you that when Kemi was seeking to be MP, that is Member of Parliament, she depended a great deal on her Nigerian roots to curry votes from Nigerians living in the UK. This point can very easily be refuted. Kemi Badenoch is a politician. Politicians work with numbers. The more the merrier is usually the spirit that operates in the campaign trail. When politicians come into office, however, they serve the primary constituency that elected them into office. So it is not surprising that Kemi courted Nigerian votes and appealed to them to be elected into office. And she will very likely do the same when it is time for the UK to go to the polls again. However, her main goal or her main goals in office are the British people and helping to solve their problems or their concerns. Until Nigerians become the majority voters in Britain, they will have to rest content with the Kemi Badenoch as we have her today. My primary concern in this essay, which is now turned into a lecture, is with regards to a video that Adeola Fayehun made on the recent policy position of the Conservative Party of the United Kingdom, which Kemi leads, where they made it clear that their party will champion laws that will make it increasingly difficult for foreigners to become UK citizens. In a video that Kemi made public, this policy concerns, where Kemi made public these policy concerns, which hopefully the Conservative Party will make laws when they come to office. Kemi is seen stating that citizenship rights, which hitherto could be obtained over a 3 to 5 year period, will now take between 10 and 15 years. Fayehun, in her video, felt that Kemi was unfair to deny others the benefit of a system that she had enjoyed in the past. Fayehun reminded Kemi that when she was born in the United Kingdom, or when she was born, the United Kingdom had birthright policies where individuals born in the UK were given rights to be citizens of the country merely on the fact that they were born in the UK. A year or two after Kemi was born, the birthright citizenship was cancelled, just as the United States has cancelled birthright citizenship under Donald Trump this year. Fayehun felt that Kemi ought not to be born in the bridge that she used to cross over to the United Kingdom to obtain a better life for herself and her family. Ignoring the simplistic reasoning behind most of Fayehun's wrong and the unserious jocular tone that she used in her video, I still think that Fayehun's video deserves a response. Adeola Fayehun could be regarded as a populist. She makes videos on the internet mostly to reflect the views of those who watch her channel. And since most of those who see her videos are Nigerians, and Nigerians are quite a number around the world, her videos gather viewership and she earns money from the numbers of views she gets. That is how social media works. So, since her views reflect the position of most Nigerians, particularly those in the diaspora, I think it is worth the effort to respond to what Fayehun has said. Nigerians need to appreciate the fact that white people have a strong sense of history. They pay attention to where they are heading to, mostly from a healthy knowledge of where they are coming from. Many white people live off something called old money, the inheritance of their fathers. They understand how their parents got this wealth, and they are very careful about preserving these resources while at the same time bequeathing it to their children's children. While Nigerians eat up family inheritance and demand that no one question how they use money stored up in their hands, white men are very careful about preserving their heritages. You visit a white man in his house, and he tells you that he's living in a house that his great-grandparents built in the early 1800s. This sense of history and tradition is even more pronounced with the Conservative Party. So when Kemi Badenoch joined the Conservative Party as a 25-year-old, now she's about 42, and then went on to marry a white man Conservative party member, she was learning the white man's ways and committing herself to realizing the vision of the English people. Kemi says in one of her interviews that she is the leader of the Conservative Party today because her husband recognized her gift and supported her forward. This man one day said to the wife and said, quote, "You are better at this thing than I am," close quote, and began to give his wife full support. Kemi has served in many high-ranking offices under government led by the Conservative Party. Most of us only got to know her after she was elected leader of that party and also opposition leader. This kind of a person would not suddenly jettison the will and desires of her people, all because she has Nigerian roots. Now, as we examine British history, perhaps it will be good that Nigerians also revisit their own history, despite it being a very recent history at that. Many of the things I'll write here might seem like news to Nigerians because my generation was sent to school with an accursed syllabus. One buffoon somewhere uprooted history from our curriculum so that we learned everything but the history of our country. In the latter parts of the 19th century, the British took over the administration of Nigeria. Before they came, this country was not a nation in this strict sense. We're a conglomerate of nations that were mostly at war with each other. The British brought an end to the country. The British brought order to the country by enacting laws for the peaceful running of our society. They also brought forth modern governmental system. England is a monarchy, yet through the years, the English people discovered that the science of government was better left to elected people. That is to say, the people elect a few people to govern them on behalf of the monarchy. The British monarchy is not a figurehead, as many of us think. They are a custodian of their history, etiquette, and general way of life. But the very act of governance, of governing a nation via democratic means, must be left to a few people. Britain learned from the French Revolution that if the monarchy is given absolute powers and the country is run down, the people will turn on their rulers and there will be endless anarchy and wars. It was this science of government that Britain bequeathed to Nigeria. The story does not end there. After the Second World War, Britain was finding it difficult to cover the whole Commonwealth it held sway over. The British people had lost many able men to the First and Second World Wars. And the countries they governed in the Commonwealth were beginning to have educated and able men who themselves could handle the science of government. By the time India gained its independence from the British in 1947, all other countries in the British Commonwealth, particularly those in Africa, knew that they could also ask for independence. Britain was ready to give these countries independence, but she would not sit back and allow her years of labor and investments to go down the drain. Those who would take over the science of government from the British would have to be able men like themselves. The action group led by Chief Obafemi Awolowo could read the reasoning of the British, and they quickly got to work. Awolowo led a team of technocrats to govern Western Nigeria from 1951 to 1959. The action group had at its goal three things: to serve the people of Western Nigeria in such a way that the people would understand that a black man could do the same thing that the British had done. They also needed to prove to the numerous monarchies on the ground that they were better at handling office than the uneducated old men sitting on some age-old stool. The action group also needed to show the British that the white man could handle, that the black man could handle his own affairs. With the success of the action group in the Southwest, and with constitutional democracy beginning to take root in most of Nigeria, the British handed the country to Nigerians to run. And to be sincere, from day one, the Nigerian people began to make a mess of things. Things eventually culminated in a 30-month war. Things eventually culminated in a 30-month war, civil war that claimed the lives of no less than 3 million people. As if Providence sought to give us a second chance, this country entered into an oil boom in the early to mid 1970, and she squandered all her wealth on frivolous things. Today, after a generation has ruined this country, they have now decided to jackpot and go to their mother country, that's to England. This is why Kemi Badenoch frequently refrains, quote, "I would not allow what happened to my country of birth, Nigeria, to happen to Britain. And she has every right to this position. Now, to Adeola Fayehun's credit, she did mention in her video that Nigerians must commit to fixing their country so that this incessant embarrassment of our citizens abroad will cease. But the fact that it was a passing comment shows that it was not a point she wished to emphasize. It is unfortunate that Fayehun has lived abroad for so long and still does not understand the mindset of the white man. The white man understands that he is here for only a moment. He understands that he has a duty to posterity to leave his country better than he met it. The white man is concerned with his name and reputation, rarely concerned with the money he can make from a system. It is the reason why British people are quick to resign from public office. They understand that such an office is not their birthright, that they are holding trust for generations to come. They also understand that if they fail in office, the only thing that will be said to their credit is that they resign when the people who put them in office lost confidence in them. Rather than castigate Kemi Badenoch, Nigerians should learn from this woman. First, learn what party ideologies and policies mean. Then understand how public office is run and held in trust, and then imitate what is good. There's no reason why Nigerians should not jettison this extremely expensive presidential system of government. United States can run this type of government because they are a very wealthy country. Nigeria can consider returning to parliamentary system of government where there is a party in power pursuing to implement policies, where there's a healthy opposition keeping them on their toes, and where the public is watching the debate, observing whether or not the party in power is meeting expectations, and where they fail, they are simply voted out of office. Kemi Badenoch is not Nigeria's problem, and I hope that Adeola Fayehun viewers and you would understand this. Well, this article was written by myself, my humble self, in a few days ago. I published it on Text and Publishing, and I thought to do a video around the article and just shed some light on it. Well, you're welcome. This is Reform Niger Television. My name is Deji Yesufu. I'm the pastor of Providence Reformed Baptist Church. Today we are looking at a topic that I have titled, what did I title it? The Science of Government. Yes, the Science of Government. Want to look at why Kemi Badenoch is doing the things that she's doing. And I thought that I should open the discussion with that article that I wrote. I hope that you were able to get something out of it as I go on with my discussion. So sometimes last year, September 2024, Edmond Obilo invited me to his studios to come and talk about my book, Humanity. If you have not watched, not seen that video, I'm going to put a link to YouTube, to those of you on YouTube and those of you on Facebook. I'm going to put the link. Maybe I'll try for Twitter also. And I had it was about an hour or 20 minutes discussion. And one of the things I said in that interview is I said, good governance is not rocket science. Good governance is not rocket science. I've thought about that statement over and over again, and I'm beginning to feel that there is a sense that it might not be correct. Okay, it is not rocket science, yes, in the sense that it should not be so difficult for people to govern a nation. Yes, but it is rocket science, or it is a science in the sense that it is something that should be learned. It is a science that, just like any other science in our world, you go to school to learn something, okay? And that is what I think our government is all about. And I'm going to touch a little bit on it in this broadcast. Hopefully, also, I'll be able to look at Kemi Badenoch, the fact that she's 43, 44, and that there's the youth that sometimes government needs, all right? When all the people that you have in the seat of power are people 60 and above, you're beginning to have problems because they cannot bring energy, the kind of energy that government will need, okay? So good governance is not rocket science, yes, in the sense that it shouldn't be difficult to govern a country, but good governance is rocket science, or is a science in the sense that it is an art that must be learned, okay? So that is that. I want to look at the next sentence. I provided these slides so that I can stay within the context of a discussion and not run around. Okay, so now when I published my article on Kemi Badenoch and I looked at what Adeola Fayehun was saying about this, what this lady said, I felt there were some objections. So there are three objections. I'm going to answer to the three of them. For the sake of those people who probably do not know what Kemi Badenoch, I'm sure most people do, but in case you do not, Kemi basically said that the Conservative Party, when they come to power, they're going to implement some laws that is going to make it a little more difficult for people to obtain British citizenship. Okay, prior to this time, it was difficult, but when Kemi's party comes to power, it's going to be more difficult. Okay, and yeah, so of course, many Nigerians who are living abroad are like, why are you doing this? Why are you burning the bridge? Okay, so those are some of the things I'm going to a response to. So the very first objection, okay, that I'm going to respond to is this: Kemi will be betrayed. Okay, somebody called me, one of my egbons, called me from the United Kingdom, and spent a very long time speaking to me, and he said Kemi will be betrayed by the whites. She should have kept these plans to herself. He said a lot more things, but that is the summary of what he was saying. Okay, now this is what I think about that statement, and I'm going to use that to respond to my egbon, through this video. Okay, now the white people are not like us, those of us in Africa, where we keep the things we want to do in our minds, we keep it, and then we come to office and we begin to do what is in our mind. Okay, this is what every constitutional democracy should do. Okay, I'm still going to get to Awolowo in this broadcast, but every constitutional democracy, this is what you should do. You have parties. In fact, people have the liberties to create as many parties as they want. You can create 100 parties in a country, as many parties. Okay, but in your party, you sell your policies. You sell your policies. Okay, you let the British people know, or the people of a country know, that these are the things you are going to do when you come to office. Okay, so you don't keep it in your mind. It's not like some of our own leaders who they will say one thing, they will do something else. Okay, because when you come to office, the people who voted you expect that you begin to do the things you said you are going to do. Okay, so the parties will usually enact policies. Okay, so what Kemi did was that she was telling the British people that these are the things we're going to do. Day one, we're going to make it increasingly difficult for foreigners to obtain citizenship. Okay, now they can say that because they know that the primary voters are not foreigners. The primary voters still remain British. And if the British people want foreigners to continue to come into their countries and take over their welfare and take over their medical and over their jobs, fine, they will vote somebody else. But if the British people, who are still the majority voters, do not want foreigners to come over and take over their jobs, they will vote Kemi and her party. Okay, so you don't make it private, you make it public. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, with all due respect to my Egmont, it's not wise to say that you're not keeping that. That's a Nigerian mentality. Sometimes I think that some of our people have spent so much time abroad, they still haven't begun to learn how the white man thinks. Okay, these are the things we're going to do. If you want us to do it for you, vote us. That is what Kemi is saying essentially. And that it is a lesson even to us, in the sense that, look, constitutional democracy is saying this, that all parties have freedom to sell their ideas to the people. The people will now look at your ideas and they will vote for you. And then when you come to power, then you implement your ideas. Now, if your ideas don't work, it simply means that in another 4 years, the people vote you out and they vote somebody else in who has better ideas. That is what makes for a working society. Okay, so she cannot keep the plans for herself. And by the way, she cannot keep the plans to herself because she's leading a party. She's leading a group of people. And the party is even the oldest party in the United Kingdom today, over 100 years. So many of the ideas that she's pushing today are ideas that have been passed to them by their forebears. Okay, so and she's been in this party since she was 25. She's going to be, I think, 45 in another maybe 1 or 2 years. So there's a sense that she has been in that party for 20 years or 18 years. and she has learned the art. She knows the spirit. She knows what her party wants. Okay? And she's married to a British man. Her children are British. She is practically British. So why would she be implementing laws or policies? Please go out. Why would she be implementing laws or policies that will favor Nigerians? She's not serving Nigerians now. Britain is not Nigeria. And I'm still going to get to this, to Adeola and some of the things our forebears said. So please, there's no such thing like keeping it to ourselves. It's the Nigerian mentality, and we should rid ourselves of it. Okay? You campaign. In fact, there are some parties that don't have policies. They just get themselves into office by the power of the monies they have. And then they begin to now do what they think, or and doing things off the cuff of their head. So that's the first one. The second objection that I want to look at, I don't know why my something is taking forever. Okay, so somebody else says Kemi should stop condemning Nigerians. No one condemns their country in public. Yeah, that's true. Some people also said that we've had Kenyans. Obama didn't condemn Kenya. Rishi Sunak didn't condemn India. So why is Kemi condemning Nigerians? Well, the truth of the matter is that when I look at Kemi, I see somebody who is still suffering from PTSD, Nigerian PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Okay, disorder, whatever, stress disorder. Okay, I see somebody like that, because she mentions certain things which those of us who grew up in the 80s can still identify with. She talks about being robbed. Okay, she said that if you live in Nigeria, you double check on your lock. Okay, she talked about living in a place where you'll be hearing your neighbors being robbed. Robbed. I heard that. I had those experiences. Okay, she talked about once a Nigerian policeman stealing the shoes of her younger brother, and one comedian went on social media, and went and handed over. I said, on behalf of Nigeria, we are giving back the shoe. He bought new pairs of shoes for the young man. That was quite funny. But the truth of the matter is that the woman is, I think she still has PTSD, in the sense that she's still responding to some of the stress that she and her family experienced when she was in Nigeria. See, look, let's not paint anything. Let's not paint ourselves. This country is not working. It's not. If you think it is, why are you jackpying? Why did you leave the country? It's not. Okay, this country is not working. The other day, I got it, and it has become normal thing now. You get into public transport, and somebody is sitting next to you in public transport, and they are going, and they sense that because of probably the way you are dressed and what you're wearing, you will have a little money. They will now beg you to pay their transport money. And I'm thinking to myself, how did you get into public transport without transport money in your hand? What if you get to the place where you're going to and you don't find somebody to pay? It has happened over and over. The other day, there was a man, there is suffering in this land. And the kind of suffering that I'm seeing is not suffering as in a group of people suffering. No, it's a number of people are suffering and a number of people are wealthy. There's a wide chasm between them. Okay, a number of people are stupendously wealthy. A number of people are mind-blowing impoverished. That's what's happening in this country. This country is not working. How it has not sunk, I don't understand. I think it's of the mercy of God. Okay, the things that are going on in the Northwest, things that are going on in the Northeast, with insurgency, it's just the grace of God that these people have not invaded this country and taken over power in Abuja, because the country is not working. And I cannot begin to go into one. Recently, there was an announcement that a hospital in Nigeria, okay, had gone 100 without power supply. Hospital, tertiary hospital. And you say the country is working? Okay, you want Kemi to be your ambassador out there to go and be painting. If the country were, why did you leave the country? This country is not working. And we have a duty to leave a better country to our children. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I'm sweating. Nigeria is not working. Okay, so Kemi is not the one that is going to whitewash your country. Do it yourself. Fix this country. Okay, there was a time that Donald Trump said something about this country being a, what do he call it? Shithole country. Said the whole continent was that. I mean, if the whole continent is shithole, I don't know what Nigeria is. Maybe the very depth of the latrine. The country is not working. Okay, and this is a subject. We don't have good governance. Okay, we don't have good. In fact, we don't have an election system that works. Votes don't count. So how do you have constitutional democracy? You have somebody who just comes with his money and takes over power. Okay, votes are not counting. The country is not working. Okay, what we have is a situation of some big man somewhere with a lot of resources that has captured the state. That is what we have. So please leave Kemi out of your nonsense. She's just describing your country for you. If you don't like it, change it. The fifth slide, I'm going 9 slides. I want to stay on top. So somebody said everything you wrote, he said everything I wrote, which I just read, everything is theory. Well, I agree. Everything is theory. The only difference, of course, is that between theory, you go from theory to practical. Okay, the problem with all what is happening now is that many of the people who are in the practice of government never had an idea of what government was supposed to look like. Okay, I'm going to get to Obafemi Awolowo, but before I get there, I must point out that Obafemi Awolowo had 3 steps of profession. Okay, the highest was that he sought in life to become a politician. He felt he was called by God to be a politician. Okay, but the first step was that he was going to be a journalist. He started with journalism. Okay, and when he was writing in his late 20s and 30s, when he was writing articles, all of the ideas he would eventually bring to government, he was postulating them, writing them. Okay, so if you say everything I'm writing is theory, leave me on my theory. One day will come, we'll have opportunity to implement our theory. It's theory that backs practice. Awolowo continued to write. In fact, in 1948 or 47, he wrote a public letter to John McPherson, about the constitution that had just been passed, and pointed out the holes in the constitution that was just created. He pointed out the holes. Okay, that was 1948. That was the first time his face was published in a newspaper, and it was SLA Akintola that published it. He was editor, I believe, of can't remember, maybe Daily Times or so. He published Awolowo's article where he was criticizing that constitution. Okay, so this man started with theory. Every practice starts with theory. And by the time they got to government in 1951, they hit the ground running. Why? Because they said they are action group. They are not going to be known for talking or for postulating theory. We'll be known for what we do. Okay, so thankfully, Text and Publishing, which is my website, spends time talking about theory, yes. But the day will come that will translate theory to practice. And I'm not going into government, but rather I'll be a Christian man, a pastor who will be able to influence good governance. Because if it doesn't work, if government does not work, it's going to affect those of us in church. It will affect all of society. Okay, so everything you wrote is theory. Yes, it's theory, but theory backs practices. Okay, I think we're about to take Lakim Investment. Lakim Investment are our sponsors. You know why this thing is not changing. They are sponsors. They are the ones that have made it possible for us to do what we're doing. Yeah, Lakim Investment. Please, if you have not patronized these people yet, please do. If you don't even have any plans of doing it, if you like what we do, please go and copy that number down, send a WhatsApp message to them and thank them for being a blessing to us. When people abandoned us and thought we're going to go under, Lakim Investment were the one that stood with us. So please patronize them as they do business. All right. So please patronize Lakim Investment. Last year around June, I was at that facility. I slept in one of the rooms there. They have AC 24/7. They have UPS, that's inverter. So when light went off, a few hours of light went. They're actually on band A, but a few hours the light went off, we had access to power. And then the site where that um, shuttle facility is very close to where you can take a ferry to the island. So if you feel that it costs a lot more to be at the island, you can use them, and they will there will be a better option, because of course it's going to cost a lot less to stay in Ikorodu than to stay in on the island. All right, so that's that. Now I come to something that I want to really center on. I have just 3 more slides and I'll be done. So I want to look at the concept of party ideologies. And in this place, I said that there had been no party ideology since Obafemi Awolowo. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that's the truth. Um, Before 1951, when self-government was being granted to the various regions, the three regions, northern, western, and eastern parts of the country, um, yeah, just at that time, there were basically three parties. So we had the MPC for the north, we had the NCNC for the east, and then we had the Action Group for the west. So the Action Group were known for certain ideas, for certain ideologies. They were known as a socialist group, even though Awolowo did not adopt the word socialist for the Action Group, because he felt that socialism was actually not working in the parts of Europe and even Russia where it was being practiced, but so he didn't implement full-blown socialism. Okay, he also felt that there were some ideas or some wisdom in capitalism. So what he said was that he said that what he's positing is whatever works for society, whatever works for society. Those are the ideas that he is positing. So he said he rejected the anyism. Okay, anything that will work, okay, for this Nigerian society is what they were going to implement. Then recently, I began to take a little more interest in the word Afenifere when I did a little research, and I learned that the action group were described by the ordinary southwestern Nigerian then as Afenifere. That was their nickname. Okay. Afenifere means somebody who loves other people and wishes the best for them. Okay. You love people and you wish the best for them. That's what Afenifere means. Okay. And that was the word, or that was the name, that was the nickname for the action group in those days. Why? Because the party was actually committed at bringing social goods to the ordinary Nigerian. Now, why was this? The reason is very simple. When by the time the I believe that should have been the John Macpherson Constitution was about in 1948. It gave allowance for self-government. The reason was because the British had gone to the First World War, which ended 1918, gone to the Second World War, we entered 1948. And when you go to war, you lose men. And they lost a lot of able men who could govern the Commonwealth that they were overseeing. So it only made sense that they should begin to, reduce their manpower that was spread thin all over the world. Now, if there are people who can govern their country successfully, the British did not mind it. Okay. They saw, first of all, and in fact, one of the reasons why they gave in to the pressure for independence by India in 1947 was because they began to see that the Indians themselves could govern themselves. And by the time, people like Awu said that he used to read a lot of Indian newspapers and commentaries, political commentaries, and he was learning. In fact, he learned federalism from India. So the Nigerians also began to position themselves for self-government, and it started in earnest in 1951. The action group were held sway in the southwest, NCNC in the southeast, and the MPC in the north. Okay, that was what happened. And the action group became what, Oyo State is said to be a pace setter, but the action group actually was the ones that were the pace setter. They were pushing all the other groups, all the other regions to try to catch up with them. So the action group started, they built a university, helped to support the big birthing of the University of Ibadan. The North also went for Ahmadu Bello University. The action group started, they built the Liberty Stadium. These ones too were building their own. The action group created newspapers. These ones were creating theirs. The final one, that was 1959, the action group created the first television station. Others also started to work towards achieving those goals. So there were healthy competition between all the parties, and all of that. But you see, I began to pay some attention to that word Afenifere when I learned that Dele Farotimi has been appointed a spokesman for the Afenifere group, and that the whole thing now began to link. Okay, number one, I have been reading a lot of Awolowo. Number two, I realized that Awolowo is diametrically opposed or totally different from the ideas that Bola Tinubu, our present president, leads. Okay, Bola Tinubu is a capitalist, full blown. Awolowo was socialist, at least had lots of socialism in his ideas. Okay, so when I saw that, okay, and Dele Farotimi is totally anti-Tinubu. Okay, so when I saw that Afenifere appointed Dele Farotimi as their, I think, like their publicity secretary or something, but something like one of their spokesperson, it key, the whole thing added up. Okay, I came to understand that the present government we have today is not an Awoist anything. In fact, somebody mentioned somewhere, I can't remember who it was, that Bola Tinubu has not credited Obafemi Awolowo for anything since he came to government. Probably never even mentioned him in any of his public speeches. Okay? Because they are totally different. They are not doing the same thing. Okay? But the fact still remains, the point I'm trying to make here is that at the age of 42, Obafemi Awolowo came to office in 1951 and began to run government with something I want to call a science of government, or an art of governance, okay, such that he became an example not just to other regions in Nigeria, but an example to other parts of Africa on how a region must be governed. Okay, so while the British were breathing down on their necks and look and say, can these people do it? There were also another set of people that the action group and politicians like them had to prove they could handle the governing of the country. And these people were the monarchies. Okay, the British had come, taken over power from the various monarchies in the land. Okay, brought the whole country together, made the country one nation. Okay, and then the British want to go now, and then the monarchies are sitting back and watching the British probably handing power over to the politicians. They are like, why are you giving the politicians power? Why are you not going to give it to us? So what Obafemi Awolowo and the rest of his team did was that they went about convincing the monarch that they would do a better job governing society than, a one-time or a forever sitting monarch would ever do. Okay, so the monarchs were watching. Okay, not only the monarchs, so the white men were watching, the monarchs were watching, then the people were watching these people. And when they hit the ground running. They delivered. They solidly delivered, so much so that the people came to realize that these people, they had their needs, their concerns at heart. The action group had 4 policies. The first one was freedom from British rule. They achieved that. The second one was freedom from want, freedom from disease, freedom from ignorance, freedom from British rule, freedom from disease, freedom from want, freedom from ignorance. The way to read ignorance is education. The way to read disease is good medical care. Okay, and they implemented free education for all children. Okay, all children. They implemented free medical care for children from from age 0 to age 18. And they brought about a very prosperous society. I was speaking with my dad this morning. Dad is 76, and he was saying that, in the late 50s, Obafemi Awolowo gathered some tailors. He knew one of them. One of them was living opposite his father's house in Okebola. Gathered tailors, about 10 of them, and took them to the United Kingdom to be taught how to cut clothes, to make suits. He said about 10 of them. And these guys came back to Nigeria. When they came back, the government gave them loans. They built factories where they could create suits so that Nigerians did not have to go abroad to buy suits. Okay? And then they taught others how to do it. All right? Oh no. Oh no. When some people are saying that they are local, you can't compare. You can't. Okay? So their government, the ideology was what? Afenifere. They did things for other people. And many of them finished their time in governance in penury. They earned practically nothing. Awolowo was earning a salary. He was taking his salary every 3 months because the money was so little. So you just tell them to gather it together, except for, if not for his wife that was supporting him financially, because the wife was into business and people saw that the husband was serving them. So people patronized the wife. And she was doing well. That was how the guy got money to do government. Okay. So that's that. I'm not sure what the second slide, the 8th slide, is going to talk about. Let's see what it says. I don't want to do more than 1 hour here. So I think I'm about to finish. I have just 2 slides. All right. So we still want to look at Kemi Badenoch. I have this very long reading. Please, I just want to plead with you to bear with me. There's this thing I must read from Obafemi Awolowo. I don't know why this thing is not maximizing. All right. What do I mean by the science of government? So I've been saying so far that what we need at this time are people who can govern the country properly. And if you have not heard it, I'll say it. We don't need old people in government. Awo was 42 in 1951 when he started to govern this country. Okay, we don't need old people. Kemi Badenoch is 43, 44. We need young people. People, I dare to say, who went to school, read political science. They know the art or the science of governing a country. Okay, at this point, I want to read Awo. Maybe I should minimize and show you the book. Got the book? Get a copy. Awo, page 294. I'm going to read the second paragraph. It's a little. There's it. Awo. Okay. Second paragraph reads, and I quote: "It's often overlooked." This Awo speaking. It is often overlooked that there are 2 vital and inescapable stages in life, wherein all men and women, however great or small, and however rich or poor, are equal, at birth and at death. Through these 2 events, nature herself is incessantly imparting to us a lesson, which is also vital and inescapable, and which mankind ignores at its peril, namely, that all men and women should be treated as equal, both as political and economic beings. For this reason, all laws, measures, and programs introduced by government must be framed so as to give equal treatment and opportunity to all. Various forms of government, absolute monarchy, oligarchy, and autocracy, and different economic devices, feudalism, laissez-faire, capitalism, have at one time or another been practiced by man in defiance of this principle. But in the fullness of time, these devices have crumbled because they are evil. From the very start, therefore, have always had it before me the supreme objective of a welfare state, which is denoted by our motto of freedom for all and life more abundant. At the same time, I do recognize that this objective will be realized only if the state is prepared to step into the breach to help the needy, especially the young ones, both to discover and develop their talents or natural bents. What I was saying here is just saying basically that government should recognize that all are equal. And we should, government should do everything to ensure that everybody has equal opportunity. Okay, it's not a situation where you begin to think, say that, because you see, at present, what's happening is that because the country is not working, a lot of people who have the means are ensuring that their own children are getting education and opportunities. Okay, and others are being denied. Okay, now the problem is that God forbid a day comes that society discover, or people in society discover, that that is what is happening. You realize that these children that you're educating, sending them to good school, sending them abroad so that they will come back and get the good jobs. Okay, these children will one day be classified as the bourgeois, the rich, the ones in the higher class. And God forbid the revolution come. If it comes, it is those children that will be cleared. You understand? Now, if you create a society where everybody has equal opportunity for success in life. Now, if you don't use your opportunity to make success of your life, the blame will no longer be on government. It will be what? On you. All right. So that's it. Now, another point that I want us to look at is this: how did the world move from monarchies to democratic government? It did so through the science of government. Okay, people came to learn, and this thing started. It didn't even start from the French Revolution, but it started with people's writing. Just like some of us are just writing now, and people were writing. People like Voltaire, in France, they were writing, and they were just influencing people's minds and making them to understand that all of us are human beings. Now, why is one person higher than the other? Why is one person the king, and then one person just ordinary, and before you know it, feudalism was brought to an end, and democratic practices were employed, because democracy actually is not it wasn't just in practice in Europe. It was something that was practiced in olden days, or ancient Greece, and it was employed. A situation where people determine those people who rule them, okay, and they'll just look. We're giving you 4 years. We're giving you 5 years. All right. If after 4 years or 5 years you don't do the right thing, your party will be voted out, and then another set of people come in. That was how we moved from monarchy, and this monarchy, the experimentation with monarchy, with democracy, became widespread just in about the past 100 years. In fact, there are some countries till now that still have monarchical kind of government. Okay, but even within those ones, they still they still implement some science of government. Okay, the third point: like every field of endeavor, government must be studied and its science applied, and that's the truth. Okay, it must be studied. You must study governance where it is working and try to see how to implement it here. It's not when you get to office and start thinking, what do we do? What do we? Some of the people who are in fact, of the three set of people who ran for government, who led the campaign for election, whether it's Tinubu or Atiku or Obi, how many of them have you been reading what they write? What have they been saying? Have they written books on how government should be? These are some of the things you should be asking. But we just find some money back somewhere who is able to gather people because he has name, okay? And he comes to office and then he starts thinking on what to do when he gets to office, when he ought to have had his ideas before coming to office. Okay, number 4, Kemi's experience in the Conservative Party cannot be wished away. And that's the truth. She joined the Conservative Party when she was 25, and she's 42. Excuse me. Now she's 42. So, she has gained a lot of experience. So when she's talking, she's not just talking because she doesn't like Nigeria. No. She's talking as somebody who has learnt the art, the science of government. And Nigeria should learn from her. Okay, final slide. In summary, what am I saying? We must fix this country. Things can't continue the way it is. We must fix, and there's no going anywhere. There's none. I'd always known when I finished university that where am I going to? If I'm going to go to this country, go out of this country, it's probably going to be for a period. Just to get something done, maybe an education or something. Come back. This is where work needs to be done. Okay? You check the life of people who have gone ahead. The people you don't hear anything about them is because they add nothing to society. It's not because I'm looking for name or to be heard. It's because I know I wasn't born by accident. You know, it's going to be said that because I live, something changed in this country. We must fix this country. And let it be said that a generation rose and fixed the rot they met. The Jackpot community can aid these efforts. Yes. Any of you who are abroad, who are watching our videos and you're seeing some of them, support us financially. Yes. That's what many Indians do, Chinese do, went abroad, and they saw people with worthy causes and they supported them. Support us. Buy my book. This is it. Humanity. Buy a copy. Buy copies for people. Okay? Buy my book. I earn a little money, I can do more. Kemi Badenoch is a friend. She is not a fool. I want to thank you very much for watching our broadcast. This is our midweek broadcast. We usually try to do something away from theology on midweek like this, either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. On Friday, we're going to have Paul Dada back to come and respond to my primer on cessationism. Okay, we're still going to try to continue our discussion on that. I just felt that there was a need for me to. I wrote the article on Monday. I tried to write my article, at least write one article every Monday, So I wrote the article on Monday and I began to see so many people. I was really surprised by the responses. People were saying, why should I say this? And there's nothing wrong with Kemi Badenoch. It's not our problem. We should learn from that lady. She's doing something great. We should learn from her. My name is Deji Yesufu. I pastor Providence Reformed Baptist Church. If you need a local church, you live in the city of Ibadan, you need a local church, please join our fellowship. We'll do you well. We're a confessional Reformed Baptist church. We serve the living God. We stay within the context of Scripture, and we're also very, very practical. One of the things that is coming out of our study of Scripture is that we must lead, we must be a light to our community, must be a light to our nation. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.